have just personally about 50 videos of children from 4 years old to almost 16 years old. They've never spoken, and then all of a sudden they start speaking, and they don't speak ABC, they speak full sentences. There's one little video that I showed yesterday with the permission of the parents, of course, a young child about 7 years old in Cyprus, whom I had seen a year ago, and then I saw the child in February, was doing phenomenally well. It was the grandmother and the mother there, and they said, but doc, he's not speaking. I said, look, I don't know when they will speak. I just don't know. And all of a sudden, the child who was sitting on my lap, which is very unusual for autistic children to come, sit in your lap, especially if you're a foreigner, all of a sudden he turns around and he goes, Mommy, Mommy, and then in Greek, O papous Theoharides, the grandfather Theoharides. So he turned around, he showed me because of my white hair, and he said, the grandfather Theoharides. And it was like everybody started crying. And then I had another lady in Athens, Greece, 13-year-old, who had been doing phenomenally well, very, very functioning, etc., but she wasn't speaking again. And I remember it was a very rainy day in Athens about a year ago. I mean, rainy, thunderstorms, etc. And the grandmother was saying, oh, doc, if she could only speak. And she turns around, this girl, looks at the grandmother in the eyes and says in Greek, I told you, you're going to be hit by a thunderbolt and you're going to die, and I'm not going to have a grandmother, and you didn't listen to me. And it was entirely logical. And obviously she had tried to say that, and obviously she hadn't said it before, but it was perfect. And then she stopped again. So I don't know what it's like with everything that we discussed earlier today. It's like making a crack at the door, and then the children themselves start opening up that crack until the door is open. But I tell parents, they record everything. Just be careful what you say, or be very open in saying what the child might actually want to pick up. They're picking it up, number one. Number two, the children are very sensitive. They're so sensitive that they would hear raindrops on the window pane and get scared. It's like animals, they feel when the weather changes. So if you scold another sibling, they'll pick it up. If you fight among yourselves, they'll pick it up. And they don't have the ability to handle stress as some of us might do, and some of us might, even otherwise normotypic, might not be able to deal with stress. And I'll stop, at least now, by saying that one child that I saw abroad was doing extremely well, a young man, about 13, and that about a year later, 2 years out, after he had gone to a normal school, no shadow teacher, etc., he absolutely reversed and regressed. And it was like, the family was like, oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? And we spent with a clinical psychologist whom I asked to help us almost 2 weeks. And it turns out that either by accident or by playing or whatever, the child had kicked the cat of the neighbor. And the neighbor said, I'm going to kill you, probably jokingly. But since the children could not handle nuances, the child thought it's going to be killed. And he took it all in and it regressed. And it took us 2 weeks to bring the neighbor in and make them understand that this is a way of saying that we don't mean it. And then within 2 weeks, the child was back. So sometimes we think it might be infection. Many times might also be just a major stressor that these children cannot handle the way we would. And anytime a family tells me a child is going backwards, says something happened. Let's try to find out what happened no matter what it takes.